Okay, so after trying to wake up you this morning, I will try to not make you sleep this evening. It will be not so much technical talk, but it's mainly for people who are not used to use Firebird on Linux. How many people here use Firebird on Linux? Yeah. So, but it can be heard by people running on Windows. Just two things. The first thing you have to run Firebird on Linux is to install it. And if you want to install it, you have many choices. In fact, under Linux, you always have choice to do. So you can choose project packages. We provide both RPM and tar.gz. RPM, we will stop providing RPM for Firebird 3, in fact, because they are bad RPM. So you can choose distribution packages from Debian, from Fedora, from Mageia, from OpenSUSE, or you can build it from sources. So, project packages RPM. Pro and con. Pro can be easy if you are to set up with project packages RPM. If you are on a distribution that use RPM, secure because the project package RPM change the sysdb password. It's not master key by default. It is built by the project, so no additional patch. And then it's easier to debug if needed because it's built by the project and you can get the debug easily and you know which exact version you use and how it was built. Con, it's too generic. The RPM that we provide in the project are very generic RPM and not well integrated with distribution. So it's not very a good choice for that. It doesn't support update. You can only install and remove. You can't update the project support RPM. It not always check correctly dependencies. It put all in /opt. And pre 2.5 builds of Firebird are built with old libc, so you have to check dependency and have it. And like other packages provided by the Firebird project, it uses old and not full ICU. If you choose project packages that are tar.gz, the Pro, it's easy because it's really easy to extract, install, in fact. Just 2 lines. tar, and then /install, it's okay. It's secure too, it changes the sysdb password. Again, project build, no patch, etc. The con not support update, it's not really true. In fact, if you try to install a new Firebird tar.gz on a box where there is a previous version of Firebird, he will ask you to stop the Firebird service and you will zip the old installation and install the new in place. And again, it's a previous version of Firebird that built with old libc and it used old and not full ICU. But I guess that it's a good option to take the project tar.gz to install Firebird and Linux, especially if your distribution don't provide it. sorry, checklist. So if you use project packages to set up Firebird, you have to check that if you use classic server, you have xinetd installed. So I put the syntax for Fedora here, yum install xinetd, because don't check dependency. And for all other versions of Firebird, you have to also provide the old libc for all versions of Firebird before 2.5, because they are built with this version of libc. And if you have problem, it's easy, you can reach the support list. So, not really hard, but you have to check these 2 points. The other choice you have is to use distribution packages. So today, distributions that provide Firebird are Debian and derivative of Debian, so Ubuntu, for example, Fedora, Red Hat, CentOS, Scientific Linux, Mandriva, Mageia, and OpenSUSE. All these distros have Firebird packages that have maintained. So it's easy to use the distribution package because when you use the distribution, you know how to set up a package inside. It's very well integrated in the distribution. All the dependencies are correctly managed. It's built with the default distro libc, provide you full ICU, so you can play more with all cassette collection. The default of that it can have wrong patches because sometimes maintainer of package can patch Firebird. It don't provide you a Firebird, but usually we, as a maintainer of package, we take care to not provide wrong patch. Certainly, it's always available later than the official project because all maintainers wait for the official release is done, and after that we package. And usually, on most distro, you can have only one version at the same time. There are few distros that provide you. Only Debian can provide you. For example, Firebird 2.0 and Firebird 2.5, but other distro only provide the latest one at the time the distro was built. And I put in potential problem also that it used full ICU because each time Firebird is built with the ICU version that is inside the distribution. So you have to take care, if you move databases, you have to do a backup restore because you don't use the same ICU version. If you build from source, the good point is if you build from source is that you have choice. So you can use all the switch we have for build Firebird. The problem is time because of course it takes some time to build Firebird. With the latest version now we can build Firebird very fast if you have a multi-core CPU, but previously it takes some time to build Firebird. And here what you need to build it, you need G++, awk, seg, autoconf, and the lib idle. So, for example, if you want to build Firebird from source and the Debian, you have to set up all these packages, and you will have a box to build Firebird. So we have not much of dependency, in fact. If you build from source, you have an option because you can choose if you want to use OS edit line or not. You can choose if you want to use OS ICU or not. You can choose directly what the service name will be, what port it will use. You can choose also where Firebird files will be on the system. So for example, this one will build Firebird in /opt with super server and with systemd client and with system ICU. If you run only autogen sh, it will build classic Firebird. Now with the latest version of Firebird, we can choose, you can fine tune the installation directory. You can, with all this switch, you can tell where you want to put files on your file system. You don't need to put all in /opt. So you can put log somewhere, binaries, UDF, you can choose all that when you build Firebird. Yes, I use this for build, for package Firebird, Mageia and Fedora, I use this switch. So you install it, and now after installation, what you have to check? You may have, if you use Classic, you have to check xinetd. You may have to check max open files if you have a heavy load system, and you may have to check the file system you use with Firebird. If you use Classic and xinetd, you have to check the configuration file of xinetd. So in /etc xinetd.conf, you have some settings and usually this setting by default on distribution are very, very low. So if you have a classic Firebird classic server with a lot of connection, you need to raise some value here, because if you don't, your Firebird will not run correctly. That's okay when we run QA test, for example, under Linux, you have to check that before running the whole test, because if we don't raise the value, the test fails. The point to check are instances, because instances set as I say there, set the maximum number of requests xinetd can handle at once. So it's for all xinetd. So if you have other software that use xinetd, they also impact by that. So take care of that. So usually you can raise it a lot. And the other point you have to raise is CPS, the number of connection per second. And you can raise this number this way to run Firebird correctly. So if your classic server don't run correctly, check first xinetd.conf. Just one point now with the new distribution, because I know Fedora, OpenSUSE, Mageia, Mandriva, and perhaps Debian not yet, but all these systems are moving to systemd. And systemd is a replacement for the previous system 5 Diamond for Linux. So it's a all new system. So with systemd, Classic we not use anymore xinetd. So it's a socket activation. So we don't have to configure that. For all the tests I've done, in fact, in terms of performance, it's the same. Systemd or xinetd for us is transparent. The change is nothing. Perhaps sometimes systemd take a little more time to start new binary, but it's not always true. So if you want to start Firebird Classic and Fedora, for example, now, you just have to say systemctl start Firebird Classic .socket to run it, and not xinetd anymore. So things you perhaps have to check. There are on some Linux system there are very low value for file max and ulimit. So if you have a system with a lot of traffic on it, you have to check this value, because they could put low value and Firebird can be not happy, because if file max and ulimit are too low, when Firebird do a lot of sort, use a lot of temporary files, you can reach this limit, in fact, on heavy load system. So if you have problem on a heavy load system, this number have to be checked. You only have to raise them. It's not really a problem. So how to check and modify this value? It's if you want to make change permanent, you just have to edit a configuration file in /etc ccpl.conf, and just change the value, and it will be automatically loaded next time, and or you can reload it immediately. And for ulimit, you can see and check the R limitlet with ulimit. So this limit can be set up only for one user. So since Firebird use Linux Firebird user, you can check and put these limits only for Firebird. Again, it's only to edit a configuration file. Nothing really hard to do. Next, after file limits, you may have to check the file system you use, because under Linux you can use xt2, 3, 4, you can use XFS, you can use various file system, and the way your file system is mounted and the scheduler that it's used by your system can have influence in performance for Firebird. So if you are not happy with performance for Firebird and your Linux, you have to check this, what file system you use, what mount option you use, and make some tests. But on this topic, Paul Reeves tomorrow will do a session to help you about this. It's one of the last sessions tomorrow, but I put there on the slide. So, what could have performance influence? Of course, the sync option have influence on Firebird, because if you use buffer or not, if you write synchronously or not on the file, that have performance. But really, even if sync is less performance, it's more secure to use sync option to mount your file system. The option atime, no atime, everywhere Firebird, you put Firebird database, the best is to put no atime on mount option because it's not used for Firebird. It's really secure to put this mount option. After that, we can make some tests with the scheduler you use, because by default your Linux kernel will use one scheduler. Usually now it uses CFQ scheduler, but I made some tests and sometimes deadline scheduler is better than CFQ, but it depends on your distribution, on your kernel, and on your file system. So but it's easy to switch from one scheduler to another. So you can change it for the hard disk you want, just with echo deadline, just with echo in the sys block here. It's just that you can change the scheduler and test if it runs better or not. It's not intrusive. It's easy to make this change, and you can make this change permanent or not. That's an easy point. And really, it depends on the kernel you use. So I can't say every time deadline is better or CFQ is better. So that's all, in fact, for all you have to check for under Linux. I put this slide, you will be able to have this slide. And really, what's good under Linux is it's easy to make your own tests and to find documentation. And these few points about the file system and the scheduler are really easy to reach and to change. So, and it's easy now also to change the file system you use. Usually now, for what I saw, XT4 is pretty good. In fact, it performed very well. Of course, there are problems with cinch right or not, with barrier or not, but that's another question. It's all about reliability and performance. You can have, if you want really good performance and reliability, in fact the only way to go, but Paul Reeves will talk much about, I think it's a RAID system, in fact, with a battery powered card. But if you want really good performance. Any question? Thank you.